Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? So goes Auld Lang Syne. But what about new acquaintances, of which we make quite a few in Full Sail this week? It's a brand new year, and this is NXT Graded. We start with the new NXT Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley. Big love for Rhea from the Full Sail faithful. Just as she is saying thank you, she's interrupted by Toni Storm's Power Rangers-esque music, and out comes Toni Storm, and everybody on Twitter acts like they've never seen a woman's bum before. It's ridiculous. Toni Storm says, "Hey Rhea, congratulations, but I have beaten you twice. And on Sunday, I'm going to win the NXT UK Women's Championship, then I'm going to come for your championship at Worlds Collide." Great chant to Toni, 2 belts, and it looks like the match is set. Excited about that. Don't have much time to process it because out comes Kay Ray, the reigning NXT UK Women's Champion. Presumably got a very fast flight from Glasgow to Florida, and she gives a little bit of smack talk to Toni and Rhea in the ring. She's interrupted almost instantly by Io Shirai, who walks out to the ring, grabs the microphone off of Kaylee, points at Rhea Ripley's belt and says, "Mine?" She's then interrupted by Bianca Belair, who gets in the ring and says, none of you are on my level, none of you are worth fighting. And then Candice LeRae interrupts her and comes out. Rhea Ripley says, "Hey Candice, do you want to fight?" "Ah, cool, so do we." Big old rock to start off, and we find out from William Regal that we're getting a 6-woman tag team match right now. It is Kay Ray teaming with Io Shirai and Bianca Belair to take on Rhea Ripley, Toni Storm, and Candice LeRae. This match pretty much is Candice LeRae getting a kick in. That's the whole premise of this match, it seems. Kay Ray, Io Shirai, and Bianca Belair all take it in turns, working over Candice LeRae, and Candice just cannot get a break. She cannot make the tag. There's one great moment where it looks like Candice is finally going to get the hot tag, and Bianca Belair just appears out of nowhere, muscles up Candice, and just hoists her across the ring. It was brilliant. LeRae finally gets her opening when Belair accidentally strikes Io Shirai. Tag to Toni Storm, and Toni starts lighting the place up. She eventually gets shut down by Io Shirai, now recovered from her accidental attack from Bianca Belair. Shirai hits that beauty of a butterfly backbreaker, goes up top for the moonsault when Bianca Belair tags herself in. Going, "Hey, I want to win this match." In the ring gets Belair, hoists up Toni Storm on her shoulders, only to eat a dropkick from Io Shirai, who then rolls out of the ring. Shirai's done with this nonsense. This leaves a very wounded Bianca Belair open to a big boot from Rhea Ripley, and the Riptide for the 1, 2, 3. At the end of the match, we see Candice LeRae roll into the ring with Toni Storm and Ripley staring each other down. Candice LeRae is about to hand Ripley the NXT Women's Championship, where she stops and looks at it for a little bit, and we all go, "Oh, hello, here we go." And then she hands the belt and raises their arms. It's all friends in the end for now. Giving this a B, it was a strong opening to the show. It wasn't the best work that all 6 of these have done, but it was a means to an end. We're building to TakeOver on Sunday. We're building to Worlds Collide. I'm really excited to see Toni Storm in the mix to this level. Like, Toni Storm has forever been one of my favourites. Just a phenomenal performer, great character, and just generally one of those still untapped resources by WWE. So I am happy to see Toni Storm on both versions of NXT, both the American one and the one from off of England. We get the first of 2 vignettes for Tommaso Ciampa. He's reflecting on having to hand over his NXT championship, having to give up Goldie, and saying that he doesn't recognise himself in the mirror anymore, and he wants his life back. He wants that championship back. He wants Goldie back from Adam Cole. This was a really great way to rebuild Ciampa a little bit. I feel like he came back with he came back in a very busy environment. Like, he was one of 2 returns on the night he did return. Then we had War Games, then we had Survivor Series. So I feel like the focus hasn't completely been on Ciampa. And it seems like we're building to Ciampa and Cole, which is fine with me. I'm good with that. So this is Ciampa kind of doing a bit of a hard reset to go, look, back to the matter in hand. I want my belt back. This was good. Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic gets underway. It's the Forgotten Sons taking on Imperium's Fabian Aichner and Marcel Barthel. Marcel Barthel and Aichner very much 60-40 in this match if you're grading it on a soccer scale. Forgotten Sons look good, had some nice flurries in there, but this really was Imperium's night, I thought. And do you know what? For the fact that it was a heel-on-heel match, they did a really great job of once they got the ball rolling, getting the crowd really into it. We see Forgotten Sons start to rally near the end. Blake and Cutler pulling off a flurry of great moves, but it's just not enough. Despite getting a European bomb countered earlier, they finally hit the European bomb to the Imperium lads for the 1, 2, 3, and they move on to the next round. And they get a nice polite applause from Full Sail as they leave. Very good. Very good. Evil wrestlers, we're very proud of you. Very good, very good. Giving this a B+, I thought, as I said, since it was two bad guys fighting, two sets of bad guys fighting, they really got Full Sail into it. And both teams, like Imperium are solid. I think Imperium are one of the most consistent tag teams in all the brands across the company right now. Like, they're always solid, always crisp and always smooth. Forgotten Sons kind of, you know, in true keeping with their gimmick, sort of lost their way a little bit, but they're kind of finding themselves a touch more now. I think 2020, if they're going to break out any year, it's going to be in 2020. It won't be in the Dusty Rhodes Classic though. All day! Not my words, the words of Weatherspoon staff when you ask them how long they're doing breakfast till. And the words of Austin Theory, who was back on NXT this week. Oh gosh, if you didn't get a chance over Christmas, Austin Theory had a phenomenal match with Roderick Strong for the North American title. Mwah! Standout night for him. Tonight he's against the returning Joaquin Wilde, the former DJZ, who's got some incredible headgear on. Looks a bit like he fell off Jet Set Radio. Big fan of this. Expecting some spray paint next week. So these two have a great sort of grappling match to start with, a lot of close quarters. This leads to Joaquin getting some naughty offense in over Austin Theory, but tonight Theory will not be denied. He hits a big old TKO, like his version of a TKO. It has a name, I'm sure it does. I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments. Big old TKO and a win for Theory, 1, 2, 3. Austin Theory getting a win. This was a B. This was nowhere near the quality of match that Theory had against Roderick Strong. But I'm pretty sure this was just sort of an exhibition for both guys. Mainly Austin Theory, though, who just looks like a star. Like, that is the guy that you strap the rocket to. There is something, there is an intangible about Austin Theory that I'm very excited to see come to the forefront in 2020. Tonight we're getting promos peppered in from the competitors in the number one contenders fatal 4-way. We had Keith Lee a little bit earlier on having a chat in front of a big old Keith Lee flag, which I'd like to think is his living room. Damian Priest's turn now, and he's getting himself changed, and he's been flanked by two ladies, because that's kind of the guy that he is. He rolls with lovely ladies and wearing good clothes and all this stuff. Incidentally, one of the ladies sitting down on the sofa there. Hi, Dream Girl Ellie. How you doing? One half of the international superstars. She is brilliant. And I genuinely, you know what it's like when you see somebody that you know as an indie wrestler who pops up on NXT or AEW in a smaller capacity, and you go, I know them. He's a friend from work. So it was nice to see Dream Girl Ellie there. And Damian Priest just has this really cool aura about him. And I think if tonight isn't his night, 2020 is looking like his year. The champs are battling next. It is the NXT Tag Team Champions, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, the Undisputed Era, taking on the NXT UK Tag Team Champions, Mark Coffey and Wolfgang from off of Gallus. Dusty Rhodes Classic opening round action. I was very intrigued to see this and how this would shake down, and I wasn't disappointed. This was a heavy affair from both guys, both sets of guys. Coffey and Wolfgang really holding their own in this match. And Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly are always class, but it was nice to see them mixing it up with a very different team here. Wolfgang gets worked over for quite a while in this match, and he looks like he's going for the hot tag. Bobby Fish does his whole thing where he runs around the side of the ring, drops the guy off the apron and wails on him. But he does that, but hey, Mark Coffey's all good for this. He knows what's coming. And as Fish goes to hit him outside the ring, Coffey just wallops him. Back on the apron, wallops O'Reilly, tags Wolfgang, and Mark Coffey just starts punching everything that's moving. Even gets a smack on Adam Cole, the NXT champion, which I'm sure makes him #1 contender in some promotions around the world. Near the end, we see Coffey get an assisted Fosbury flop. Basically, Wolfgang just hoys him out of the ring into the Undisputed Era. Wolfie's all on his own in the ring, eats an enziguri from Adam Cole, who's outside of the ring, leaving him wide open to the high-low combination from the Era. 1, 2, 3, and the NXT champions beat the NXT UK champions in opening round action of the tournament. This was a B+. I was concerned that there would be too much of a chasm between NXT and NXT UK going into Worlds Collide. In the same sense, I don't want to see NXT UK just steamroll NXT, because like that messes with the balance of power. So, because if you think about this, we've just had NXT dominate in Survivor Series. And then if NXT UK dominates NXT, that is a tough belief to suspend. Not that the guys in NXT UK aren't capable of it, they truly are. What I liked in this was that Gallus didn't win, that's okay. But they looked competitive. They looked on the level. And it was shenanigans that cost them the match overall. I'm good with this. I was really happy with the way that match went down. And Gallus will go into Sunday as the NXT UK Tag Team Champion still. And I believe that Imperium will win that on Sunday. So therefore, the NXT UK Tag Team Champs will be in the tournament once again. Johnny Gargano's out for a little bit of a chat, and he keeps it real. Talks about how Finn Balor was the flag bearer for NXT until he got the call, and he put the flag down and went. When Johnny Gargano got the call in August, he said, nah, I'm staying here, all my favourite stuff's here, bye. And he built, along with the NXT faithful, NXT, and took it to a much higher place. Put it on a rocket, sent it up to the moon. And he says how Finn Balor is upset that they did all that without him. Out comes Finn Balor, who says, hey, Johnny Gargano, if you want a takeover moment with me, you can have one at NXT TakeOver Portland, if you make it that far. And then Balor disappears. It looks like we're going to get Gargano and Balor take over Portland, but it looks like it's going to be a very bumpy road. This promo gets an A from me. I really enjoyed it. It was nice and simple and to the point. Gargano, when he speaks from the heart, is brilliant. And Balor was short and sweet and simple, and we're leading to what is going to be a quality match with these guys. Mauro Ranallo drops the bomb that Kushida's tag team partner in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic is Alex Shelley. This gets a great reaction from Full Sail. The Time Splitters are coming to NXT. This is great. I'm genuinely excited about this. Do find time, if you're not familiar with the work of the Time Splitters, do find time to check out some of their work in New Japan. Wrestle Kingdom 8, where they make their entrance in the DeLorean. It's so good. Genuinely excited. Time Splitters in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Rhodes, where we're going, we don't need roads. Back to action in the ring. It's Mia Yim versus Kayden Carter. Kayden looking great in this match. Gets quite an early advantage over Yim. Yim manages to take her out, nearly gets a pin off a sit-out powerbomb. We nearly see Carter beat Yim with a low super kick. 2.999 off of the back of that one. Carter goes up to the top rope looking to finish her off with something from the deadly Bret Hart rope. But as she comes off, gets smacked with Protect Your Neck. 1, 2, 3. Mia Yim picks up the win in a very in a fine contest. Certainly nothing groundbreaking. She gets Carter back to her feet to congratulate her, and there's some love between these two. Interrupted by Chelsea Green, who just runs in and just swats them both from behind. Takes them both down. Green heads up the ramp, and who's that on the ramp in a lovely suit and big glasses? That's funny. That looks like Robbie E. That looks like Robbie E from. What do you mean that's Robbie E? That's actually Robbie E from off of TNA / Impact Wrestling, Robbie E, or as he's now known, Robert Stone, who announces his first acquisition for the Robert Stone brand is the hottest free agent in wrestling, Chelsea Green. Do we have ourselves a manager, a male manager in 2020? Oh, I think we do. Is this era of the manager coming back? Because if era of the manager is coming back, I have a resume that I'd like to send to the lads at NXT UK, because I'd like a piece of that action. Thank you, please. Robbie E just looked great in this. I liked it. I like the look. I like the style. And he talks about the Robert Stone brand, which is a nice little touch in there. I can't help but feel like this is something that EC3 should have been doing when EC3 debuted a few years ago. I feel like this would have fit him quite nicely, but that's not where they're going. It's your turn, Robbie E / Robert Stone, as you're now called. This was cool, but overall, I'm giving this a C+. I would have given the match on its own probably a C. It was fine. It just didn't really do much for me. But this whole bit with Chelsea Green and Robbie E has upped the grade somewhat. I'm probably more invested in that last minute or so at the end than I was the entire match. So I'll give it a C+. The second promo from Tommaso Ciampa, and he talks about how much he hates seeing Adam Cole with the NXT Championship, and he just wants one opportunity to get it back, just one chance at the NXT title. And then he holds up, which is a nice little touch, he then holds up his custom championship plates. I never ever see these used in a wrestling environment where people show off the custom plates. Obviously they do videos where you see somebody screwing them in. I'm presuming like Keith from Admin, or not that Keith, but nice to see him holding them up and going, hey, I want these back on the belt. This was cool. I enjoyed both these promos from Ciampa tonight. As I said earlier on, this is sort of hard resetting Tommaso Ciampa and getting him back on the road to getting Goldie back. Main event o'clock, and it's a fatal four-way match to determine the top contender for the NXT North American Championship. It is Dominik Dijakovic versus Damian Priest versus Cameron Grimes versus Keith Lee. Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic start this one off, just battering Grimes and Priest and just rekindling that old magic. They start going back and forth, battering each other. It's a bit like a family reunion with bears. Grimes and Priest are having none of this. They put a stop to this. And then we get a moment where we see Dominik Dijakovic and Keith Lee basically playing with their dinner. Because Dom catches Priest for a suplex. Basically suplexes Priest into Keith Lee, who catches him in a powerbomb position. And then Keith Lee just starts using Priest as a weapon. Just like knocking everybody down while swinging Priest around. Priest does recover from this when the fight falls to the outside and hits a beauty of a tope to gain control in this match. Actually, everybody gets a nice shine in this match. Dijakovic does, Priest does, Lee does, even Cameron Grimes, who's the smallest in this match. And they make reference to this a few times, which I think is important. There's a great moment when we see a good exchange between Priest and Grimes, and we see a Hurricane Rana off the top, sorry, a Frankensteiner really, off the top by Damian Priest, who basically Hurricane Rana's Cameron Grimes into the waiting arms of Keith Lee. Keith Lee looks to go for a spirit bomb, but then Dominik Dijakovic turns up, grabs him instead, and goes, I want to hurt him instead. Feast your eyes onto Cameron Grimes. Keith Lee pounces Dom out of the ring, and this leaves Keith wide open for the reckoning, just broken up by Dominik Dijakovic on a 2.9 count. Jeez, this is just, there are moments in this where it just goes a billion miles an hour. We get our regularly scheduled Keith Lee gif at this point as Dijakovic and Priest both have the double goozle on. They're both going for a chokeslam. Keith Lee rises in between them, grabs them both by the throat and hits a double chokeslam, wiping them both out. Looks like he's going for a dive. Cameron Grimes out of nowhere hits a collision course on Keith Lee, and Grimes just comes to life at this point, just wiping out everybody. And you think, whoa, maybe they're going to strap this to Grimes. This is great. Cave in on the outside, takes out Dijakovic, takes out Priest, gets on the top rope, dives towards Keith Lee, just gets wiped out with a double palm, that Gorilla Grizzly Magnum swat. Just wipes him down. A few moments later, we see Cameron Grimes, despite an effort to try and get back into this, eat a spirit bomb from Lee, and 1, 2, 3. Keith Lee is your number one contender. Whoa! This was an A+. This was a great main event to end the show tonight. Just 4 guys who really went for it. Some really creative spots and moments in this match. I really loved how everybody came across looking great and nobody lost by losing. Keith Lee, they have well and truly strapped the rocket to. They are riding the wave of Keith Lee. And now he's the #1 contender, and in 2 weeks, he'll face Roderick Strong. Whether they finally pull the trigger and put the belt on him, I kind of feel like they have to. Because I think because a few times he's been there, he's got to this point, and he's lost or he's just missed out on something. I feel like if they do that too many more times, then you're going to lose that bit of energy. I feel like you now need to capitalize on this wave and maybe put the belt on Keith Lee. If you disagree, I'd love to know in the comments. I personally think it's Keith Lee's time, but I'm biased. He's my boy. Overall, NXT this week was a B+. I thought it wasn't the best NXT they've ever put on, but it was still very, very, very good. Some nice storyline stuff coming in. Some new faces on the show, which I'm really excited about. The Robert Stone brand stuff they did with him and Chelsea Green is good. Time Splitters coming back next week. Whoa! Austin Theory's back on the show, which is great. And Keith Lee is once again in a pole position. So there's lots of stuff to be excited about moving into 2020 on NXT. Keith Lee being the North American champion, just one of them. Love you, bye. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. You can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/Cultaholic. Lastly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.